Are we going to start a side hustle?
I'll do some Ubering with you.
Are you driving?
You're driving.
Hi, I'm Gina.
And I'm Jen.
And this is Job Search Stories. We're going to be talking about other ways you can make a living, like entrepreneurship or gig work.
And how to decide if it's right for you.
We have a viewer question. Daniel wrote, I'm struggling to decide if I should stay in corporate or go off and do my own thing. How do I know when it's the right time to make the leap?
It's personal and it's professional. You really have to weigh the pros and cons and what are the benefits of, having work that it's more flexible or more stable. If we're talking about more flexible jobs, what are the pros? One, you've got more control over your schedule, right? Flexible jobs can be more conducive to personal circumstances. If you have to take a dog to the vet, or you're caring for a family member, or maybe you're going to university and you have to plan around a school schedule. That is definitely a plus, that work-life balance. There's also the opportunity to do more things, right? You could have a couple of short-term gigs or freelance opportunities that allow you to vary your work. So maybe you're not necessarily doing the same thing every time you go to work. Some of the cons of flexible work can be financial instability. There's also this lack of security. You're in control, but sometimes you're at the whim of other economic factors. And, maybe work isn't as plentiful as if you had had a full-time stable job. And of course, there's the limited access to benefits. If you're not classified as a full-time employee, you may not get, healthcare and paid time off and kind of all of those other benefits that a full-time employee does. And then when you compare that to work that we would classify as more stable, it's kind of the reverse of the situation, right? Those pros then become the cons then become the pros. It's really about determining what you really need at this stage in your life. When I was younger, flexibility was more important because I'm thinking about me in my early 20s. I was a single mom, working full-time, going to university full-time. But now I'm a little bit more established in my career. My family's grown. So what's more important to me is stability. I don't want to kind of always have a schedule that's shifting because I have to make doctor's appointments and, make plans. And so it really has changed for me.
If you're in corporate and you're trying to go back to freelance or vice versa, is it hard to do that?
Well, first of all, anybody that works freelance, I have an insane amount of respect for.
Yeah.
Anybody that does any type of contract work, it takes so much, right? Because there's just all of these other factors. And I think it takes a lot of resilience as a person to do it. There's some personal things that you have to adjust to, right? Like you're probably going from a schedule that you were able to control and you were able to work on projects whenever you wanted or pick projects up whenever you wanted versus a full-time corporate role where you're more likely on a fixed schedule and you're doing tasks that are assigned to you by other people. And so there can be less autonomy. So there's that personal adjustment. And then when you're thinking about how to address that transition in, let's say, an interview, I think a lot of recruiters are like me, where if they see somebody worked freelance or was an entrepreneur, they can recognize the skill set that's needed to be able to do that type of work, but it's always helpful to reinforce it. So when you're thinking about what skills you can highlight that would make you a really valuable candidate, project management, time management, self-motivation. These are all really great qualities in a team member. And so being able to speak to that or highlight the projects in which you were able to manage and utilize those skills, that's going to be so helpful to you. Be prepared for the adjustment because there will be a little bit of one, but it's not to say that there aren't the benefits that come with it.
And if you're trying to make the transition, it's probably because you want to. You want to make that switch. We want to know if you've ever tried freelance and corporate work, which one do you prefer? Let us know in the comments down below. Switching gears a little bit, let's talk about entrepreneurship. It's really a hot topic for a lot of people. Some people have great ideas and they also just want to control their own business.
Yeah, I literally think about just working for myself anytime I have a bad day.
Yeah.
And I feel like that resonates with a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you have a specialized skill set and you have a bad day at work, you're like, man, I could be my own boss.
I need someone to be telling me what to do at all times. If someone could literally control my whole life for me, it would be the ideal.
I think freelancers pretty much are entrepreneurs. They really are out there selling themselves and their brands.
Yeah, it's a lot. But as a career coach, how can you decide if entrepreneurship is right for you?
A cool thing that we can point out is that entrepreneurship is for a lot of people. In 2023, there were 31 million reported entrepreneurs in the US and 582 million entrepreneurs worldwide. So a lot of people have made the decision to go and work for themselves. And I just think that's really impressive. I think there are some things that you should take into consideration. It's not easy. You have got to be self-motivated. You've got to be passionate, right? You have to know and really believe in whatever product or service that you are looking to sell, because there are going to be long hours. There's a lot of risk involved. If you're just working on your own, like, it's really just you driving the ship. But if there are other people working for you, they're going to be looking at you to problem solve. Really think through, do I want to handle all of that? But that's not to say that it isn't rewarding.
A lot of people, they want to still have that full-time job in corporate America and also be running their business. So how do you suggest people navigate entrepreneurship or a side hustle while still being employed?
You should really make sure that you can, meaning you need to check your employment contract. I know when I get reached out to conduct like a webinar for a school or do a speaking engagement, I've had to check with our legal team just to make sure that I'm able to do that. And for me, as long as I'm representing myself and not Indeed, it's totally fine, which is great. And so you might have to ask, and make sure that it's okay. You've got to make the decision whether or not you even want to tell your employer about it. But I would personally recommend that you do. It's better to be safe than sorry, because you don't want to be terminated for breach of contract when all you had to do was ask and get permission. The other things you want to be aware of is just the time commitment. If you're wanting to do a side hustle, that's adding extra hours. But the one thing you really don't want to do is be working on your side projects while you're supposed to be working, at your full-time or your regular job, because that's just really not putting your employer in a fair situation.
Or putting yourself in a fair situation, because we talk about this a lot. Like, you don't want to be burnt out. Is it really worth it to be burnt out?
Right. Some people just are, superstars.
I know.
And they can just do all the work.
Yeah.
But when you're passionate and we've got the energy, and good for you.
It's crazy because everybody has the same 24 hours and some people can use it very differently.
I know. I use my excess watching reality TV.
Same. There's also another form of work that we have not really touched upon, and that is gig work. Give us the 411. Who are gig workers?
A gig worker is essentially somebody who's doing temporary work, usually on a project by project basis, as opposed to, traditional long-term employment. And it's really kind of used more these days as an umbrella term. It might be including freelance or contract or temporary or seasonal work. And it can also include what we would call on-demand workers, like delivery drivers or rideshare drivers.
Have you ever done gig work?
I've done some type of freelance work, right? So whenever I'm contacted about doing some speaking engagements or doing any workshop facilitation, I'll do that outside of my regular work with Indeed. So that might require either after hours, I'm giving a presentation at 7 p.m. my time or on a Saturday. So I've definitely done that, but I've never kind of actively gone out and tried to tackle a side hustle.
When I started working in like more marketing and stuff like that, I was still, actively writing and doing editorial. So yeah, I was still doing like freelance, like writing assignments and stuff like that. But it definitely wasn't for me because I was just like, I don't like to pitch. I want people to come to me. And that's what was happening, was like, people are coming to me. So I was like, ooh, I feel special.
Yeah, it's so much easier to say yes to the opportunities that you don't have to go out and seek yourself.
See, that's what it is. So I think like I could be a gig worker. People are just like being like, Gina, please do this for us. But if it's me having to go out to other people, it's not going to happen.
You're like, no, that's not the life.
This sounds like the best form of side hustle for people like us, honestly.
Are we going to start a side hustle?
I mean, I'll do some Ubering with you. We can just sit in the car together. That'd be fun. How does the job search differ for gig workers versus people who are looking for that traditional form of work?
You might see that there's going to be a need for you to really have a platform for you to showcase your skills. So you might see people with more portfolios or who have demonstrated work samples. It's really important to build a network. A lot of the work can come from just past relationships, people that you've worked with and have really enjoyed and appreciated your work, thought you did a great job. So networking is going to be really important for somebody who's interested in gig work.
What are your best tips for finding short-term work?
Because a lot of short-term work are found on specific platforms, those are ones that you'll want to use and at least become familiar with. So even things like TaskRabbit or, I know we talked about Fiverr, Upwork. Some traditional job boards like Indeed can work for it also, but just know that there are specialized ones. If you're going to use a platform like Indeed, you can be more specific with your search. So there's the opportunity for you to filter on seasonal jobs. You could also include something like temporary or gig work in the search bar. And then, of course, you want to rely on your network. It is really important to have that go-to client list. And you might find that people are just consistently reaching out to you because you were so fantastic the last time you worked with them. They just want to work with you again. I know that's something that we do. When we are working on videos and we have an editor or a scriptwriter who's done amazing work for us in the past, we would prefer to go back and use them because they already know our brand.
That brings us back to Daniel's question. So I'd really like for you to kind of wrap it up for us. What should you consider when you're weighing the options between the flexibility or stability of either working for a company or working for yourself?
Looking at your personal situation and even understanding that your situation might change. There are a lot of people who have traditionally started out in what we would consider more stable work, like a corporate environment, who then move on to go and work as a freelancer because they've gained the skills and now they want to be their own boss. And so depending on what's going to suit your needs, if you need that flexibility in your schedule, you're going to school, you're a caregiver, the short-term work could be good for you. But if you're looking for some benefits like a stable work schedule, PTO, healthcare, you might go for those more traditional corporate jobs.
These tips were just chef's
Am I
kiss.
Succinct? Am I being okay today?
You're being, that was fire. That's all we have for today. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Job Search Stories by Indeed. If you want to watch any more of our videos, please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. And thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye. Entrepreneur. There were. Okay.
Don't laugh at me. Let's keep the good vibes going. I'll do some Ubering with you. We can just sit in the car together. That'd be fun.
Are you driving?
You're driving.